here, and neither side wants it to be them. Let's see how it plays out here. Golden Guardians banning out the Irelia and the Cassiopeia to start things off as TSM gets rid of Draven and gets rid of the Jace. Karth is still up.
Yeah, Golden Guardians have been doing a lot more with the early game. You know, last time they fought versus TSM, they picked scaling. The Karthus and the Ezreal, two late game carries for themselves, and they kind of weathered the early storm that TSM brought. But recently, they've been trying stuff like the Draven, like the Jace, a lot more early game focus, trying to snowball. So I see TSM here adapting to how the Golden Guardians have changed over the course of this split.
Well, Golden Guardians want to go ahead, grab themselves that Braum first and foremost. Has been a very powerful, very popular pick recently. We'll see Olleh on that one, able to provide some peel and some disengage as the fights break out.
Yeah, Braum extremely highly prized right now because you can both protect scaling AD carries with it for lane or go for kill lanes yourself. Very good with Lucian, who is still available, even though Draven has been banned out as one of the premier lane bullies. Lucian paired with Braum is, you know, one of the #1 kill lanes to go for, especially even into support champions like Galio. You land the Braum Q, there's nothing for Galio to be able to get away from the slow and stun that usually comes pretty quick after.
Yep, Galio also another champion that's very popular in support these days. He got hit with the nerf hammer over and over and over again until he was no longer really that viable in solo lanes. But they said, hey, the kid's still pretty strong. We'll throw him down into the support role. Doesn't exactly need the same economy to work there. And Lissandra also locked in now for TSM.
Yeah, two really big zoning champions for a possible team fight here for TSM. Lissandra, as you know, comes with her own invulnerability, as well as frequently purchasing the stopwatch into Zhonya's, and Galio, of course, is going to lay down the giant AoE from the ultimate. Those things I was going to say are great setups for a Vayne, but Vayne has already been locked in here, Captain Flowers. Yep. We're keeping the theme of the day going.
Ever since this champion shows up in the LCK and takes down the undefeated best team, everybody everywhere is wanting to play it. She's over bolt right through their hearts, and this time around, it's going to be Deftly piloting now.
So here's how I see Vayne. Most AD carry players that I know want to style on people with Vayne. They're like, yeah, I'm such a good Vayne. You talk to Freak every day, he'll be like, I'm the best Vayne you've ever seen. But Vayne has been not viable for competitive scene for so long. As soon as the viability is proven, and she's super strong once again on this patch, yes, of course, because Rageblade, the buffs to the ultimate as well, and her being very close to permanently invisible late game. Every AD carry is now like, yes, it's my time. I can show you all my Vaynes. So we had Double Up, we had Reckless, we had Uzi, we had Viper, like everybody pulling this out.
Here's how I see Vayne. Black and white picture with a red slash through it because I ban it every single game. It is so difficult to play against, especially if the player is talented at it. The Aatrox will also be accompanying the Golden Guardians roster this time around, and TSM locks in the Kalista for Zven before the second round of bans can come through. Yeah,
I mean, the Vayne popularity rising because the early lane phase is a little bit less punished now, but mostly because once you get your 2-item power spike, as long as you have your Blade of the Ruined King and your Rage Blade, you can stack up your True Silver stacks very quickly. And the ultimate Q buffs to allow tumbles that much more frequently, allow you to navigate team fights. Now, she does have a weakness though, and it always comes back to the short range for later on in the game. We saw previously, you can pick Jinx and stuff like that into it, super long range, go with the rockets and crit builds. But here, TSM have chosen for another early game oriented possibility with Kalista. Can stack up spears very quickly. One of the trends with Kalista right now, by the way, is Hail of Blades Kalista that I love for super early on. You can get 3 autos off very quickly, chase them down. With the increased attack speed, Kalista hops faster.
All right, as we're catching up with the draft here, TSM decided to go for some early jungling with Rek'Sai, but over on the side of Golden Guardians, the second Swain game we've seen so far this split. 73 games played so far, only 1 Swain among them. Now we're going to see that number doubled as they'll also pick up the Poppy there for the top lane.
And what you want when you have a Vayne on your team is a lot of crowd control to be able to set up the battlefield for windows for Vayne to work with. We talked about the short range. She's going to want to be able to use the tumble to reset multiple opportunities to go aggressive on people. And for that, you need hard CC. So Braum, Swain, Poppy, Aatrox, all bringing possible moves that they can use to set up a Vayne for DPS.
And we know that Vayne is one of those champions that can provide the DPS of an entire 5-man squad all on her own. Percent HP-based true damage, especially combined with the Phantom hit on Rage Blade, means you can shred through anyone, but one of the answers TSM is also deciding to pick for that. They put Broken Blade on the Vladimir, adept at diving into 80 carries and absolutely eviscerating them if not properly protected.
And good AoE as well, because even if the Vayne tumbles away invisible, you can still hit her with AoE ability. So that is one of the big strategies as well, going after a Vayne. Galio and Vladimir both have very good tools for later on and trying to finish that champion out. I would also like to note that the Aatrox and Poppy were not swapped at the last second. This is going to be Contractz taking the jungle Poppy and the top lane Aatrox for Hauntzer. That is something a little bit less expected because Aatrox has a much higher tempo jungle. Poppy does jungle, it's just that the ganks are less surprising. And you pull out
she just struts in there.
Yeah, you're gonna pull out a lot of less surprise kills or fancy gank pathways.
That being said, the Aatrox will be able to get a higher economy by being a solo laner, so you'll have more threat with the Aatrox in the team fights, and Poppy can still just be a pure meatball with a Cinderhook build.
And one of the biggest things to me now, especially since the jungle experience was nerfed in the jungle camps, is that Aatrox needs a lot more levels to be able to lower the cooldown on your dash.
Yeah.
Now that the multiple charges have been removed, it does scale very well with levels.
All right, on to Summoner's Rift. Remember, these two teams currently sitting in spots. TSM sitting in third, wanting to make sure they retain that spot. Golden Guardians looking like one of the teams that could possibly threaten that elite top 3 of Team Liquid. Cloud9, TSM, give them a run for their money, and this is the perfect type of a game to prove that in. They took down TSM the first time these two teams met earlier on this split, to many people's surprise, and they would love to have a regular season 2-0 record with a win here today.
All right, Braum here leading the way, very good level 1 champion. Vayne can also stack up Braum Qs very quickly with the tumble, getting another auto attack, so they feinted at a possible invade, but just went for the ward in the pixel brush here to see Scuttle Crab routes for both junglers, and they will retreat, get a nice pull for the Poppy, who does not have a very good level 1 solo clear.
You can see that some fans in the audience there. All they want for the 2-year anniversary is a TSM win. We'll see if TSM can get them that anniversary present that they're longing for. As we start the game off here, everybody starting off with those buffs. And now that Kobe and I have taken to the casting desk, if you're wondering, where can I get more of these two guys in my life? Well, make sure that you tune in to the LOL eSports channel. There's this or that uploaded on that channel every Thursday, where we talk about all sorts of fun stuff in the league, often including the teams themselves, like TSM and Golden Guardians that we're seeing going head-to-head right now.
Yeah, and we usually have a special playoff episode as well. Here we go, the little trade going on the bottom side. Zven, you can see they have to respect the possibility of stacking up these spears. Contractz, though, since he's been seen on that ward, they have to be a little bit safer.
Akaadian makes his way into mid lane, not really going to find the opportunity to do the level 2 gank there onto Froggen, who is already being pushed in a little bit by Bjergsen. Contractz makes his way towards bottom, but walking over the ward means he'll just be pathing back towards the space.
They saw him on the Scuttle Crab Orb, and Akaadian tried to come down to contest it, but does not arrive in time. So Poppy's very happy to be able to get that Scuttle Crab in time and just finish out this red side clear. Poppy not super strong early on, unless Rek'Sai has poor positioning and puts herself right next to a wall. That's really the only way you allow yourself to get charged early. Yes, you can do a flash charge as Poppy, but that is about it. She does clear very healthily, though. You can see Contractz starting with Talisman. Anytime you want to do red side clears for the AoE camps, that is your starting item of choice. And the hammer actually does quite a bit of AoE. Bjergsen here. Let's lose out on that trade, and the old grasp Swain.
Froggen's beating him down. On bottom side, it's Zven and Smoothie getting the edge over that Vayne nice and early here. As Akaadian once again makes a visit towards the mid lane. Forcing out the flash from Froggen. Gonna be flashes following that one up in first blood over to Akaadian. They get him despite it. The Thrall won't do it, and that is 1-0 TSM.
Akaadian has been on the warpath here ever since he joined TSM. Very active in the early game. And with a couple passes through the mid lane here, this one finally finding Froggen in a vulnerable position further out in the lane, does trade flashes and is able to secure that kill for themselves. First blood goes a long way here for TSM.
And I was, at the beginning of this split, very excited to see what Akaadian looked like on TSM. Let's take another look here at the gank that he pulls off. Early flash, but...
Yeah, smurfing on the peasants. Here we go, flashes in. He's able to get the true damage off. Bjergsen on Lissandra is the perfect champion at following up. He flashed as well. Olleh!
Olleh gets taken down. Smoothie gets him at the last tick to ignite and burns him away. Makes it a 2-0 game here for TSM.
Uh-oh, this is getting dangerous for the Golden Guardians because Zven has gone to the lethal tempo Kalista. This was the older, more traditional Kalista. Much better for later on in the game. Scales better than Hail of Blades. But Hail of Blades does have higher impact early on in the lane phase for a lot of those trades when you're looking for the kills. But they got the kill without that extra early on power, and it is looking very good with an extra plate about to go their way. One more minion. Doesn't quite touch it.
Unlucky. TSM are looking good, though. Early on, being able to find yourself that 2v2 kill on the bottom side, not even needing the jungler's help, always very promising here, especially when you're up against one of those AD carries like the Vayne that doesn't necessarily have a lot of utility. It just does damage, right? You're not talking about an Ashe or a Jhin or something that can provide some long-range CC or some sort of covering fire. You're talking about somebody who has to get scrappy, and if she's too far behind and can't do that, you're looking at a great mid-game.
Exactly. You need your Vayne to get to the 2-item power spikes that she's looking for. At least the Blade of the Ruin King, and then once you get Rage Blade, that's where it all starts to come together. Before that is the opponent's AD carry's time to shine, and Ben is all over it. Infernal Drake is the first Drake as well. That will be quite big at snowballing here with the early lead.
Very tasty. TSM looking for this one. We'll see if Golden Guardians decide they want to contest it. Their jungler is on the opposite end of the map, so they just want to see if maybe there's anything they can do, but they'll go ahead and yield that one away. TSM does have 4 bodies down here, which means Golden Guardians just have no sort of reply, and Akaadian will grab that one up here. Last couple of hits onto it. Not really in danger of having that one stolen away. Smite not quite ready, so just beats it down with the abilities, and that is first Drake TSM, just 6 minutes in.
Again, Poppy, a lot less agency in the early game because her ganks are less creative, but Contractz is going to make an attempt at Bjergsen here, and that's kind of what it looks like.
Yep.
You walk straight at him. Sometimes you throw on the steadfast presence that gives you some extra move speed for walking, but not nearly going to have the same opportunities as a champion like Rek'Sai that has the tunnel, flash knockups, and these big plays to set up their laners.
And remember, Lissandra's claw teleport is a blink. It is not a dash, even though the claw has to move itself. Lissandra's distance changing is a dash, so it's not going to be stopped. It's a blink, excuse me. It will not be stopped by the steadfast presence, so Poppy doesn't really have anything to stop that, as some other champions might, which means Bjergsen just gets to sort of do whatever he wants here. Really not afraid of that one. Broken Blade going into the pool to evade the Infernal Chains there. Hauntzer doing a good job building himself a small lane advantage here in the top side. Will be equalized a little bit as Broken Blade waits for those minions to be pushed up. But that's what you want to see if you're Golden Guardians from your Aatrox, bullying the Vlad early. Vlad is traditionally always going to be weak in lane because he's so cooldown reliant. The cooldowns are terribly long early on. You can see him going for the Fiendish Codex now. Generally, Vlad's will take Transcendence as well as the Cosmic Insight in the runes to provide even more CDR. So going to take about level 9, level 10, have those runes turn on, have the abilities hit level 5, and then Vlad will start feeling comfortable.
And as we saw in the last game, oftentimes the Aatrox will look for a very early Executioner's Calling when you're in a lane against a Vladimir. Very, very good item purchase. And even if you take into account the entire team here that you're looking at, the healing reduction works wonders on almost all of these champions. Rek'Sai has quite a lot of healing, the Lissandra as well. So an Executioner's Calling is not just a lane purchase in this case.
And I've been very vocal in the past about criticizing players and teams who don't properly build.
You're just very vocal all the time in my experience.
Well, I like to be a vocal person. If you've got a bunch of heals on the enemy team and you are not cutting those in half, you are making some goofball decisions, my friend. So I like to see those kinds of tech choices being made in matchups like that. Checking in on the bottom side, Zven still has himself about a 15 CS advantage over his opponent. Has the Longsword and Doran's Blade in inventory advantage. You can see they're about a 600 gold lead as Akaadian's showing up here in the bottom side. We'll find out that he's on top of a ward as he drops that control ward down, so doesn't want to go for anything crazy with a dive here just yet. Olleh doesn't have level 6 on the Braum, but it's still very hard to make this dive work without casualties.
Yeah, it's very hard for a Vayne to trade with a Kalista. A big reason why TSM winning this lane so hard is because Vayne, you want to go, normally your trading pattern is your auto with your tumble forward Q reset. Here we go, though. We might have a dive. We'll go into trades later.
But it's Contractz coming in here to try to stop this one. They're going after Olleh first, going to be taking him very low. Contractz making his way into the fight, but Olleh's already going to be taken down. It's 2-0 TSM looking to make it even more. Double kill over to Zven. Deftly gets away, but Golden Guardians already lose too.
TSM looking to finish up the first tower of the game as well. Bottom lane domination here from Zven and Smoothie.
This is exactly what TSM fans want to see. Taking down that first turret completely. That's 5 plates. That's turret money. That is everything, the whole shebang, in under 10 minutes bottom side.
You dare blind pick the Vayne versus TSM bottom lane? Well, they're going to get punished for it here is another look. Bringing down the extra member. Akaadian comes in. Smoothie with a very nice flash there. No reaction time. Olleh is going to go down. And since Bjergsen got the first roam off as well with the Lissandra, they can just power it through. They get the second kill onto Contractz. They force Deftly out. They get the flash out of the Vayne as well. And it is just another look at this very active early game that we have seen from TSM throughout this split. They talked about wanting to be the proactive team. You know, for years, really.
This
TSM.
is what people wanted for years. This is what the fan base always wanted. Oh, TSM's too slow.
Exactly. And this is the year that they have gotten it. Funnily enough, this year, for a lot of the split, though, TSM have actually had fairly long average game times. Some of the longest, because later on in the game, there have been quite a few hiccups as far as ending it out. But this early game, definitely all going their way, all action-packed. And I think that this sort of a lead with the Infernal Drig as extra insurance looks like they shouldn't have too much of a problem moving the game state forward. You can swap your bottom lane out from the bottom side. After you get the dragon, of course. Second one is going to come up, and that's an Infernal. So you want to stack that?
Yeah, buddy. 2 Infernals over onto a team that has the Lissandra, Kalista, and the Vladimir will be just fine. Swapping those lanes out also gets Broken Blade away from this losing 1v1 that he's still down 20 CS in. Although he's now level 9, that means he has the max level transfusion. He's got the CDR garage sale with the Kindle Gem and the Fiendish Codex. He's doing just fine. He'll be able to catch up as these lane swaps happen, and you can see Golden Guardians is not really contesting the Drake either. Kalista using her unique power of also being a jungler because she has so many spears, it's like a smite. And here we go.
Yeah, you do have to be slightly more careful now as Kalista because the rend damage on Epic Monsters was taken down, but still very, very easy for Zven to secure that Infernal Drake for TSM. And on top of the giant gold lead, like I said, it should be fairly easy for them to continue pushing the tempo of this game. They can rotate over and keep the pressure up on the top side of the map as well. Rift Herald should be the next focus. That helps you break down the rest of these outer turrets.
You can see Golden Guardian's not really in a spot to try to stop any of that momentum right now. Yeah, you've got a Black Cleaver on your Aatrox, but everyone else is still struggling here a little bit. Froggen has the Rod of Ages, but really wants to get the stacks on that for it to become a super worthwhile investment. You can see Contractz still only having the Bombi Cinder. Cinderhulk itself not fully completed, and Bilgewater Cutlass only an inventory for Deftly. So these guys would like some time to scale up a little bit more, but against something like a Vladimir top, you have to wonder how much time can you take trying to scale when you're already 3,000 gold behind here in this game as Zven makes his way into the top side. Tags out Broken Blade. Thanks for holding it down, buddy. We'll take it from here.
Exactly. They want to rotate their powerful lane here up to the top side, keep that pressure going like we're talking about. And as you can see on the mini-map here, they've rotated everybody else down to the Rift Herald. They're fully protecting it. Mid lane's even coming over as well. And this is going to be an easy objective picked up, as well as forcing Golden Guardians off of the top tower. So you knock down the top tower with your bare hands, and then you pop the Rift Herald in mid lane. All of a sudden, you've completely opened up the map with all the outers really, really heavily weakened.
And this isn't just Rift Herald. It's Rift Herald with still 60 seconds left to use it, getting turret plates for it. Rift Herald before 14 minutes is worth a ton because Shelly's Headbutt takes off 2 plates, which is 320 gold just on its own.
That is a super valuable thing to remember, especially for everyone at home in solo queue. Trying to rush that objective earlier in the game means a lot more because you get a payout. And there you go. Zven just knocks it down himself the old-fashioned way, and that means that they can use the Rift Herald here in the mid lane to finish up the last couple of plates. And that tower, once you hit this point, it's just full steam ahead. You move into the enemy jungle, place down the wards throughout the middle sections there so that nobody on the enemy team has an easy time farming any sort of gold.
Worth noting, Akaadian did go back after getting the Rift Herald, so they weren't set up to be able to drop Shelly in time to get the plates. So
It's an important thing to mention.
It's an important thing to mention that didn't happen in this game.
Two games this split, TSM have killed the Rift Herald, but not picked up the Rift Herald eyeball. Now, I went back
They got the eyeball this time.
I went back and looked at the games. The first game is a good excuse because a fight broke out right after they picked it up. But the second game, I just kind of forgot about it.
2 to 12 turret plates. That is a 1,600 gold advantage just in turret plates. That is 5 extra champion kills. If turret plates didn't exist, just look at the scoreboard and pretend it's 0 to 9, and the gold would be about the same.
You know my favorite thing about turret plates is, Captain Flowers?
What?
They don't count towards your bounties. So it's a lot of money that you kind of get to evade taxes with.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of which, it's tax time. Do your taxes. Don't evade those.
Yeah, that's definitely...
We're inspiring people to be good citizens here on the LCS. As Shelly is summoned up here in the mid lane. Mid lane turret with about 60% HP left means the headbutt won't kill it alone, but it'll take it down to the point where they can finish it off swiftly. A couple auto attacks from Zven will do the trick, and TSM have fully disassembled the outer line of Golden Guardians turrets in 15 minutes.
All right, so like we talked about, we got to keep our eyes on this checklist. And this is going to keep TSM honest because they are on a timeline here where they have a lot of control, and people are looking for this team to be the one that challenges Team Liquid and Cloud9. How you do that, you display here against Golden Guardians, one of the rising teams in the league, that you can finish out on one of these strong early games. They have everything going for them right now, and they need to move up this ward line, which, as you can see on the minimap, once again, they have actually done a very good job getting all of these wards in the jungle here very deep. And that kind of cuts off the possible sources of income for the Golden Guardians on that side of the map, both the top and the mid lane, plus as well these jungle camps themselves.
That map for the Golden Guardians is as dark as it was when they spawned in at 000 on the clock. Not what you want to see in the top side of the jungle.
Well, there's another light on Summoner's Rift, and that is an Infernal Drake about to spawn here, Captain Flowers. That yellow marker around the Dragon Pit means 20 seconds from when the time it first appears. And TSM moving over here. Looks like Golden Guardians might contest.
Golden Guardians moving in, looking to start the fight off here onto Smoothie. Going to be saved now by the power of the Kalista ultimate. Olleh taking very low. Contractz going back over the wall. Froggen coming in from the flank. But considering Golden Guardians has already lost their support, I don't think this is a fight going to go too well for them. They're still looking to push it further. Smoothie going to be taken very low. Akaadian also down to 25%. Froggen will zone them all away. Akaadian having to go into the stopwatch now, as Hauntzer will lose the World Ender. Can't go into the res just yet. Broken Blade chasing everyone out with the Hemo Plague. Bjergsen comes over the wall. He's got the CC. He's got the damage. And Zven's on a rampage.
What a re-engage there. And now Contractz is going to get chased down. Zven's on his tail.
Oh, cue the sad music. The Poppy's got nowhere to run. Akaadian cashes in with the Prey Seeker, and TSM will win the fight.
Oh, the Golden Guardians baited themselves in there, going in on the support champion. But this is a Kalista. The Galio is linked to Kalista, calls him back in, saves Smoothie. Now they're going to pick up another one. Olleh, where are you going?
Olleh, you got to get out of there, buddy. Flashes over the wall to stay safe, but that's another free summoner spell expended for nothing there.
Man, this game has got to be ended out quickly. 3 Infernal Drakes stacked up on top of the giant early lead here with TSM's focus. Let's take another look here at how it started out, though. As we said, Smoothie here, they actually used the Braum ultimate this way towards the wall, and they just pull Smoothie right back out of that one. Zven stacks up very quickly. They get the counter kill. It almost got saved, though. Froggen has this amazing flank on Swain. Plus, they have the double knock up there from Hauntzer's Aatrox, which kept them in place for a lot of the burst damage. Akaadian's ultimate, though, made him dodge a large burst from the Swain, so Akaadian actually not going down on the Rek'Sai. And then TSM with the re-engage. Bjergsen goes in. Lissandra still able to find the route over the back of the Dragon Pit there. Smoothie re-engages on the Galio ultimate right behind him. They pick up the extra kill. And as you know, 3 Infernal Drakes plus a giant gold lead usually signifies the enemy members are going to be dying very quickly.
And because of that, I don't blame Golden Guardians for trying to start the fight off there. Against any other AD carry, you kill Smoothie at the start and the fight could look very different. But considering it is Kalista and she can keep him alive, things turn out tragically for them. And now you are staring down the barrel of not only 3 Infernal Drakes, not only a killless game for yourselves, but you're down 7,000 gold to top it off. Not even Baron on the table yet. Still 45 seconds to go before he spawns. And the enemy AD carries 4-0-1, jungler 2-0-4. Hauntzer now in some trouble. This is the guy who has been seemingly trying to keep things together for the Golden Guardians. Won his lane as expected, but now the collapse comes in. It's 4 versus 1. I wouldn't take those odds no matter how far ahead you are. And Bjergsen claims the kill.
And very important is the timing of that full commitment from TSM to the bottom side. Later in the game, that might be ill-advised if Baron was up. But this is pre-20 minutes still in this game. So you can throw 4 members down to the bottom side as TSM, and you don't have to worry about giving anything up else in trade to the Golden Guardians, because after that, you just push the lanes right back out, and there's nothing really of value traded over. Extra tower damage being laid away down here on the bottom side, and it's still straight towards the base here for TSM.
And that Vayne is still firmly offline. Blade of the Ruined King and Zerker's Greaves, the only items completed. He's down 3,500 gold compared to his counterpart, who has his item plus another item and a half in the Hurricane, plus the Executioner's Calling. Very, very dire straits here for the side of the Golden Guardians. Froggen's Rod of Age is almost completely stacked, but he now also no longer has that stasis available until he fully completes the Hourglass because he used the stopwatch in the last team fight. And honestly, if you try to go in against a team that's 7,000 gold ahead and put yourself in the middle of 5 people without a stasis, you are a big dead bird.
Yeah, I mean, right now Golden Guardians have to go into defensive mode. That means just trying to keep some vision wards on Baron, but not overextending past your secondary turrets, farming safely, and just trying to wait out the next 5 or so minutes without giving up too much to TSM. That is a lot easier said than done, though.
Oh, yeah. Anybody can say it, but it's a lot harder to play it, and Golden Guardians, unfortunately, are the ones who are tasked with that here now. We take a look at TSM. They're continuing to push forward, continuing to occupy Golden Guardians territory here in that top part of the jungle. You can see some Golden Guardians wards down in the TSM side, but unfortunately, Kobe, I don't think they're going to be on that part of the map here for a while.
Definitely not likely. At the moment, we have a role swap here where solo laners pushing on the side for both TSM members. Contractz is looking at a possible play in mid lane, but that is ill-advised because they lost track of Akaadian and Bjergsen from the top side. It's going to be very hard to pull off.
Bjergsen throws the claw over the wall, but now TSM are going to be initiated on. Contractz coming in, looking to start things off here, going on to that enemy support. Smoothie going to be in some trouble. Akaadian already kills off the enemy jungler, and once again, Fate's call keeps Smoothie out of trouble.
Yep, they're just going to be able to eject him back to the top side here. Nobody going down. Plus, actually, the
jungler's dead.
They're actually going for a re-engage.
Yeah, Contract's already down. It means TSM has the numbers advantage. Why not go ahead and take that, turn it into something amazing, as Deftly's taken down. The Rek'Sai ultimate guarantees it. 4 dead bodies on the side of Golden Guardians means TSM can finally go after the Baron now that he has spawned.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second, nobody from TSM went down, but Golden Guardians pushing up, and they're down a member. Now it's going to be definite Baron picked up, and that has got to be the way to end this game. 22.5 minutes, Captain Flowers. This is going to be another time trial.
Normally, I say a team finally gets Baron because they've just never been able to control the pit, or they just haven't had a good enough spot to take it from, but TSM can finally get it because it decided to show up.
Here's the finally. Golden Guardians finally get a tower. Hauntzer trades it for the bottom side gold, and that is going to be one step for them. But let's take another look at this flank. Contractz goes in. He flashes for Zven. Zven is the target. Of course, they're trying to take down this Kalista, but you see how much burst damage, you know, Akaadian is able to put out. They get the knock-up on him, and everybody just focuses him down. Even a tanky champion like Poppy immediately annihilated. Then the rest of the Golden Guardians are pushing up that mid lane for some reason, thinking that maybe TSM had already fully retreated to one of the objectives. They just get circled back around on and picked up the extra few kills.
All right, Kobe, it's challenge time. Last week, you issued me a challenge and told me to predict how quickly FlyQuest would beat Echo Fox after they were in a very similar position to this game right here. and I was about 10 seconds off with my prediction. So let's see if you can get closer.
You set a very high bar for finishing it out.
So what time does this game end at?
I'm going to give it another minute and a half. That would be 3 minion waves.
Okay, so 25-15 is what you're predicting.
Just 3 more minion. Actually, it's a little overzealous, but I'm going to stick with it.
All right, 25-15 is Kobe's guess for the end of this game. You got to beat within 10 seconds. Let's see if he can make it happen here, as Golden Guardians will try their best to stop that reality from coming true, trying to hold the line for now. They still have all 3 inhibitor turrets intact.
Yeah.
So the base not broken yet. They haven't lost complete control over the minion spawns, but TSM will change that rather quickly.
This time for the ending hinges completely on, do they go for the last team fight? If Golden Guardians actually stand and try to fight them at one of these objectives, and TSM actually get the kills, then they can end it. If they don't, then TSM might go for the reset after taking multiple inhibitors here.
Right.
And we'll get a delay.
Because you'll have 4 or 5 turrets worth of golden inventory at that point.
All right, bottom inhibitor's down. Are they going to just get another one? Yeah.
1 inhibitor away.
There's no fight.
You still got 25 seconds, Kobe. It can still happen.
There's no way.
This is North America. There could always be a fight.
I concede. You're just better at this than me.
TSM are definitely looking like the better team here on the Rift today. Still no kills on the side of Golden Guardians. Yes, they got the 1 turret, but otherwise it's been all the Drakes TSM. Rift Herald and Baron over to TSM. Everything's showing up their way.
Here's a more difficult game. We got to look at how Golden Guardians can try and get back in this one. And here's what we're going to highlight. Bing, 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 bing. All of
bounty
these
money.
Bounties are a possibility, but in order to get those bounties, you have to get those kills in the first place. If you give up all of your towers and all of your inhibitors before going for the fight, for the kills, then it's not going to happen.
Contractz tried to start things up by knocking Akaadian out of the picture, but TSM can win it 4v5 when they're this far ahead. And that's exactly what they're going to do now. They're going in. They've got the whole team ready to go. It's Froggen into the stasis. Will not matter. There comes the spears. Akaadian's unstoppable. Also grabbing a kill down onto Olleh. Deftly and Hauntzer, the last 2 left alive, and Hauntzer now stands alone. Broken Blade just waiting it out, throws out the tides of blood, does not care, and that will be game for TSM. 26 minutes in, they'll take their revenge on the Golden Guardians and maintain firm control over 3rd place.
TSM now 8 wins out of their last 9 games. What a run it has been in the second half of the season.
Looking good here. Team Solomid giving up a single kill over the course of that game there at the very, very end. Akaadian finally falls. But what a showing from this team. Akaadian making the play happen in mid for the first blood. Then bottom side, Zven and Smoothie with the 2v2 outplay to get themselves rolling, and it just never stopped.
Yeah, TSM punishing that early Vayne pick very heavily and making it look easy as well.
They make it look easy, and they also completely stop anything Golden Guardians could have done. I think back to the 3rd Elemental Drake fight, where it could have been an initial pick onto Smoothie, but Zven is always right there. He keeps Smoothie safe every single time. They chuck him right back in there and say, all right, the aggro's dropped, go back. And they just continue the fight. Really well played from everybody on TSM, and if you've got to pick a time to really be looking in form, I'd say it's right now.
Definitely true. I mean, Kalista, one of the premier early game marksmen, has been for multiple patches at different stages in competitive history. Rek'Sai is back. It just seems like they utilize these early tools super well to get the lead. Then getting 3 Infernals, some roams from their man in the mid lane, all came together.
Sometimes getting the Dragon RNG on your side can be a real bonus, and this time around it gave TSM all the firepower they needed. But now, Riv is standing by for a winner's interview with the TSM top laner.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Great cast on the day. I am joined by TSM's Broken Blade after a victory over Golden Guardians. Locking in playoffs has to feel well. Broken Blade, TSM seems to be firing on all cylinders. What is working so well for the team right now?
I think we had issues. For example, the 2v2s on top lane, it was a really big issue on the team. And then I think we were working on our mistakes. And for example, in the early weeks, our mid game was really, really bad. And we just kept on working on our issues, and I think going to playoffs, we are looking really strong.
And being one of the newest members to the LCS, you come from the TCL, and you join an organization like TSM. What has that atmosphere been for you, and how has it been to grow with the team?
The atmosphere is obviously really, really professional. I really respect TSM as an organization. But the atmosphere inside of the team feels the same. We're really, really close with each other. Like, everyone is really honest, and we can learn a lot from each other as well. So it feels really good.
All right, and in joining that organization, you also take on the lead, that win streak you guys have over CLG. Do you feel any pressure to continue the 1,063-game win streak over Counterlogic Gaming tomorrow?
Personally, I don't feel pressure because I didn't put this win streak, right? But I think CLG is not looking that great right now. And we are doing pretty well, so no pressure from my side, at least.
Broken Blade, it's been awesome to watch you play this year, and best of luck in the rest of the season. We're going to throw it to the analyst desk, the State Farm analyst desk, to break down the rest of that game.
Thank you very much, Riv. As it was mentioned earlier, TSM have indeed locked playoffs here, the third team to do so. No one's really surprised. The thing that was surprising maybe to me was how soundly they demolished Golden Guardians.
I'm happy it was a quick game.
Yeah, I mean, hey, well done by them, but it felt like we were coming in. It's like maybe Golden Guardians is the #4 team in the league. Not anymore right now. There's a big three-way tie for 5th right here with Clutch and Echo Fox only a single game behind. 100 Thieves yet to play. They could be only a single game behind as well. A pretty big shakeup so far with the results so far.
Yeah, the other thing worth noting, Team Liquid clinching a bye with C9's loss.
Well, clinching first,
excuse me, with the C9's loss. So
yeah.
Either way, big shakeup kind of happening in the league right now, and potentially opening the gate for teams like Echo Fox.
Only half of the playoff picture has been decided, so it's still definitely quite a bit. I'm mostly surprised, honestly, by this game with how Golden Guardians decided to deviate so much from what had worked previously for them and just try so many new things as opposed to, hey, these kind of worked a little bit, we just need to work on execution. No, let's just try new picks. Let's just go with the Vayne. Let's just go with the Poppy, with the Swain. Let's give this all a shot all at once as opposed to one at a time like we saw Cloud9. Okay, let's just try maybe the Vayne, test this one out. Or we saw even TL. Let's just add the Vayne just one piece at a time.
It's weird because on paper, there's some things I really like about their draft into the side of TSM where, yeah, they have like a really good dive comp, but it's only the Vayne that they can really dive onto easily. You have the Resurrection ult from Aatrox. Swain is just not a good target.
Poppy stops dives well.
Poppy stops dives. She's going to get tanky, and then Braum's also pretty tanky. And so, like, your idea is like, all right, let's stabilize the early game and go mid to late with what should be a better, like, team fight comp. But that's not what Golden Guardians is necessarily good at, and especially not about stabilizing around bot lane. It's such a volatile matchup.
Well, you mentioned bot lane and how volatile the matchup is. We've seen time and again Golden Guardians overstepping in the bot lane, especially Olleh. Here's the first kill. Doesn't even need a flash. Just walks into taunt range, essentially. And, hey, cool, now you're dead.
You don't need to do this. Your Vayne is last sitting just fine, right? You're getting your CS.
You walk up to Q with Kalista. Why?
Right. I think he just wasn't expecting that damage, honestly. And he definitely should, since, you know, he's a pro player. But mistakes happen.
And then they kept happening, unfortunately.
I personally have played the Rek'Sai into Poppy and the Poppy into Rek'Sai. That is not a good matchup for your Poppy, especially when you're dealing with two mages in the side lanes. Like, the matchup is good because you can counter a lot of the Rek'Sai ganks with your W. It's nice. If you manage to find the Rek'Sai, you can do something about it. But when it comes to affecting the lanes themselves, you don't have any setup to actually do anything. Against the Vlad, it's way too difficult with Aatrox as your setup. Same thing in mid lane with Swain against Lissandra. So you're stuck going bottom lane, which makes you telegraphed. And on top of that, you farm slower than the Rek'Sai. So she's got more options, farms faster, and is more mobile than you. It's not good. I don't want to see more Poppy jungle.
Yeah, some of it seemed like they needed to pick themselves a top laner blind. Vlad came in, they're like, it's okay, we'll flex it, and they all fell apart, of course, here. So let's actually spend some time talking about Vayne.
Yeah, what the hell?
So yeah, this year's LCS stats, by the way, it was undefeated coming into the weekend. It went, Bang won a 52-minute game back against Clutch Gaming a while ago and earlier in the split. But yeah, losing a lot of her lanes, her stats are fairly negative for the early game.
Well, it's 100% presence out of nowhere. Like, she wasn't changed this patch. The marksman changes were a while ago. Lucian is dropping in priority for some reason. Now people are just blinding Vayne in the first rotation. You know, what happened?
I think when they saw that Korea played Vayne, everyone's like, I want to play Vayne. Because when I play AD carry, I always want to pick Vayne because she's super fun to play. You know, that's why Vayne spotting is a thing.
No.
And it's currently happening right now in the LCS a little bit. Even with Double Lift, I don't know if he would have won that game if his team wasn't like hard smurfing on the rest of the map. So there's a lot of Vayne spotting. I think at the very least, with more Vaynes out, we can get a Vayne spot tracker
Yeah, I mean, pull these stats up again, because we're talking about like some weaker bot lane teams playing, and you have like, I think it was 20% forward percentage, so you're almost always pushed in, huge negative CSD. Like when you pick this champ, you're saying I'm sacking bot lane basically, unless like you're an immaculate player. And even then, Doublelift almost got slammed that game that we saw.
Well, he did get slammed. He was like 0-3, couldn't play the game. To be fair, it was 3v2 against him. Like,
but that's because it's Vayne. You're gonna get 3v2'd when you play Vayne. Happened again this game, and so like, I don't know why people are suddenly putting such high priority on this, especially when they don't feel prepared with it.
Remember that one of the weaknesses before this crazy week of Vayne is that it doesn't matter what items you're hitting, you don't have wave clear. Your abilities are not wave clear, so you're always stuck last hitting. The other team can push, rotate, and you're stuck under a tower till you used to go static shift to try to wave clear. There's just no way to fix that issue that Vayne has.
Well, some random stats to throw out here. Globally, sorry, I should say in the top 5 leagues, LMS, LEC, LCK, LPL, and us, she had a 10% presence across the spring split. This patch is up to 30%, not counting today's LCS game. So that's tripled this patch so far. Griffin versus Gen G being a good reason for that. And not counting LCS, she's 5-2 across those leagues on this patch. So like, parts are working clearly. Some teams are getting wins. Sample's too low to say she's definitively great, but to your point about people not being prepared, I agree. She is eye test, looked bad so far in the LCS.
And I mean, here's what you know though, is NALCS is home of the greatest Vaynes in the world, so that's why she has the highest presence here.
Fact.
Perfect. After the break, FlyQuest and Other Thieves will duke it out. Meet us here for Game 5 when we return.